Okay.
All right, before we get started, we just want to let you guys know that me and Shannon have a Zoom here every single week. If you'd like to join us and talk about non-duality, spirituality, twin flames, whatever actually you want to talk about, it's a safe space for us to talk about any of that if you've been through any of the journey or you're in non-duality. Shannon's email address is in the description below. And let's get started.
Okay, so
hey.
she'll sipping on something. You got a drink?
Oh, it's water. Don't get too excited.
I was like, oh,
it's Friday.
I should have thought about it. Next time we'll have to do that.
Yeah.
Have a
yeah.
drink. So before I start, because we're alpha females, all three of us.
I'm gonna shut my mouth.
What I'll do is I'll speak my what I have to, whatever it is I want to talk about, and then we'll go on to you, Yasmin, and then Monique, and then go back to me. We'll just back and forth in a row. You know what I mean? Which makes it easier for all three of us, so we can all get a word in edgewise, I guess. But so what I wanted to talk about is twin flames, of course.
Okay.
And something that there's a lot of things here that I wrote down, typed down, whatever. So there's one thing that came up, and it's about focusing on yourself, instead of yearning and wanting and all that shit, right? But with me, what I've realized is all that can appear to happen, the yearning, the wanting, and blah, 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 whatever, right? All that can appear to happen, but it's just being okay with it happening. Where, I remember when I first started out on apparently the twin flame journey, those things were considered as bad to me. I went and got healing done for it. I was trying to say mantras so that I wasn't yearning and wanting and needing, you know what I mean? And what I've realized is, since I've come to a place of being okay with those things appearing to happen, it kind of fell away on its own eventually. You know what I mean? Do I still have feelings that come up? Absolutely. But I'm at a place now where I'm okay with that, which, in the story, they would call that being neutral. And I don't know, that's just where I'm at. I feel like anything can appear to happen, and, and just you accepting it for what it is. And look, you being self-conscious can happen as well too, but it's being okay being self-conscious, and to me, that's being neutral. Yasmin?
Okay, so when you were talking, it reminded me, like, when I was on the spiritual path, I wanted to meditate, to stop thinking, and I couldn't. I wanted to stop desiring my twin flame, and I couldn't. I wanted to stop bad thoughts, and I couldn't. And now I can't stop I've accepted that I have no control. So it's all a lie. Like, it's in a way like, oh, you have to align yourself. Oh, you have to meditate. Oh, you have to do all that stuff. You can't. Life is going to be life. And if you're going to desire your twin, you're going to desire. It fell off on its own, the desire for the twin, because I just kept getting humbled and surrendered and okay. And parts of me just kept dying and dying, that you're just like, okay, it's like a give up, like, in a way, like, if I desire him, I desire him. If I don't desire him, I don't desire him. So we're all here in a space where we just accept life as it is. And I mean, I feel those thoughts are going to come no matter what. You can't change them. You can't change what's happening in life. So that's my 2 cents. Monique?
Oh, that makes sense. And I think that, for folks who are on this apparent twin flame journey, that they eventually, come to that. Like, it goes, like Shannon like to say, it goes away when it goes away. If you desire to meditate, then to meditate, do whatever. If you're doing it to get your twin flame, I mean, that might not work out for you because the focus is going to be on them and not yourself. That would be the only, and you're going to do what you're going to do, but that would be the only thing that I might say might help you, is to try to redirect. You're going to think those thoughts anyway, but maybe just try to focus more on you, on how you feel, and not worry about them so much. Worry about yourself, like, if you can. But that's gonna happen when it happens. Like, I could not focus on my twin forever. I couldn't. I couldn't. It just kept like going in this vicious circle. Like, I just the obsessive thoughts, they were what they were, and they went away when they went away, and then everything seemed to settle down into, and then there was the seeking and all of that stuff until realization happened, and then it becomes pretty apparent that it's a story. But it's still fun. It's a fun thing to think about, for sure. But the attachment seems to go away to it. There's just what you are. It settles into what you really are. I do want to say something weird happened though, Shannon, because you had that little clairvoyant moment the other day. It happened today. The weirdest thing. I was sitting at I'm buying a condo. So I was sitting at the association meeting with the manager and the sub-manager for the condo. And as I was sitting outside waiting for them to show up and let me in, there was a man sitting on the bench next to me with his dog. It was a brindle boxer, female. And so I was playing with the dog and stuff, and she was really sweet. And as I was getting ready to go in the building to meet with them about the association, I was asking the guy what it's like to live there, whatever. I said, "What's your dog's name?" And before he could even say it, the dog's name popped in my head. I almost said it before he did. Sadie. He said, her name is Sadie. And I knew the name before. I don't know how. The same thing that happened to you. The dog's name popped in my head the minute I said it. Sadie.
Wow.
And that's not like a normal name. It just came into my head. I knew it. Isn't that weird? I was like, that's the first time I was like, I mean, I had weird stuff with the twin flame stuff, but that was so weird.
Yeah.
It was so random and weird.
It is. It's very random.
Yeah, that name is not a normal name either, so it's not like a likely name. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, what I think is you can think about the twin flame as much as you want, right? You can have all those, you can focus. And I know a lot of the twin flame teachers and coaches and stuff, and I know I bring this up a lot, and I'm not knocking any twin flame. I'm just going off of what they say. I know a lot of them say if you focus outside yourself, where there is really no outside yourself, there only is just this. But to me, like, when you're at a place with being okay with focusing on them, like, you're doing it, there's no control over that. Like, when you're at a place of being okay, because like with Yasmin, when me and her first started interacting, I think she watched, I think you did too, some of the videos that I have put out, which I said, you want to chase that motherfucker, you chase that motherfucker, but be at a place where you're okay with doing it though. Like, because if you're not at a place with being okay with it, that's when, well, I don't know, but we're told that we can't do this type of things, that we're wrong and that it's bad. And even with the twin flame thing, you can't do it. And this is where it comes in, where the person starts to feel really bad that they're doing it. But if you're at a place of just being neutral and being like, fuck, man, if I'm chasing them, I'm chasing them. If I'm not, I'm not. And it's completely okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I realize that they will still come around because you're actually at a place of being okay with chasing them. You're at a place where it's not even a thing. Like, you're just, it's whatever. If I'm chasing them, I'm chasing them. If I'm not, I'm not. It is what it is. And there's really no rules. There's no right or wrong way to be. Like, whatever's appearing to happen is going to happen. But like I said, a lot of people will listen to these teachers and coaches say, don't do that. And this is where the problem starts to kick in, because they're thinking, oh God, I'm doing that. So now I need to neutralize my energy. I need to shift into these different levels of consciousness and blah, blah, blah. Nah, fuck all that. If you want to chase that motherfucker, chase him. There's nothing wrong with it. It's when you think there's something wrong with it and you're being hard on yourself. I feel like that's what creates that whatever imbalance. You know what I mean? But there's really no right way to be. That's how I feel. But I don't know.
I'd like to say something. After realization, you realize that you were never in control of your thoughts. You were never in control. There's nobody here. It's just life, living life. And before realization, you think that you can stop things. You think that you could stop loving your twin flame. You could think you could stop thinking of them. You could stop seeking. But you can't do nothing. Life is gonna do whatever the hell it wants to do. And just relax into that, because you're gonna stop seeking, you're gonna stop desiring, you're gonna stop all that stuff when it stops. You can't do anything. And I feel like the spiritual world is all about doing something. There's no doer, there's no person. So once you get to the point where you realize that, that's where, where you're coming from, Shannon. You're coming from like, hey, dude, it is what it is, But I don't know, it could take time for people. I wasn't like, just at the end of the journey, I started to realize, shit, there's no doer, there's no one here. I don't know. Fuck it. If I'm still seeking, I'm still seeking. I mean, what am I supposed to do? It's just not being in resistance to it,
Yeah.
and just letting it be. And that's what me and all of, like, me and you and Monique are doing. We're just not in resistance to life anymore because there's nobody here yet. I mean, nobody here anymore. So not that there ever was, just you realize there was never anybody here. So we're just not in resistance. And I think your message, Shannon, is just saying, stop resisting. If you're chasing, you're chasing. If you're meditating, you're meditating. If you're doing cartwheels, you're doing whatever. You're you're doing whatever you're doing, So that's my 2 cents.
I think a lot of things too are like, you're still going to have like the personality traits, right? So if you're a runner, you may still enjoy running. Even there's no you there anymore. The personality seems to still, if you like smoking before, you're still going to like smoking, probably. Maybe not. Anything can happen. Like for me, the character here really loved riding the motorcycles. I mean, from the time, apparent childhood. I still enjoy riding my motorcycle. I took my bike out for a ride an hour ago and just felt great on it, but there was no one doing it. That was the thing. I know that sounds, for folks who haven't had realization yet, and there's nothing wrong with that. That may not resonate, but when there's no one here, there's no person riding a motorcycle. It's just happening and unfolding, and there's enjoyment in it, for no one. There's no other way. I can't explain it any other way than that. But basically what you said, it falls away when it falls away, and things just, but I think resistance, even if there's resistance, that's okay. But resistance causes suffering in the illusion. I mean, it does. That's what apparently causes suffering. So allowing things to unfold makes things easier. I mean, in general, but when you're resisting things, that causes apparent suffering for a person. That's just my 2 cents.
Well, you guys and myself, we were actually noticing the resistance that was coming up just not too long ago, but we realized that we were resisting. So that can appear to happen, but it's being okay with that happening. Because resistance can still happen, but it's just realizing that that's what's appearing to happen, and it's completely okay for that. Anything can appear to happen is what I've noticed. It doesn't matter what the hell it is. It is what it is. And here's something else. Oh, and also I wanted to say, like, I realize the more that I'm okay with what's coming up, whether I feel like, because there is such thing as a person that likes to chase. And there are people that don't want to chase. They rather be chased. And that's natural. That's organic for that person. I'm not a chaser. The only time I ever chased was when the whole twin flame thing fucking happened. But other than that, like, I like the man to chase me. that's just what comes up for me. I'm very I told Yasmin I'm very feminine that way. Like I like the male energy to whatever to chase me, apparently. You know what I mean? But um there's nothing wrong with chasing. There's nothing wrong with anything. You know what I mean? That's completely okay. There's no right or wrong way to be. It's when you think that there's a right or wrong way to be. And even if you think that and you realize that you're thinking it, it's completely okay. But I was gonna say, a lot of people, a lot of the twin flame, you know, teachers and stuff that I've come across, they say, you know your worth. Don't settle. Okay. Focus more on yourself. Well, there is no self, number one. This is it. Right. And whether you know your worth or whether you're settling is completely okay. Sometimes, I mean, there are people that don't. I mean, shit, I have my moments where I be like kind of not knowing my worth sometimes, but that's just what's appearing to happen. And I realize that that's what's happening. And settling, that can appear to happen too. A person can actually settle with someone. But there's this realization that, holy shit, I am settling. It is what it is. And it will stop when it stops. Settling will stop when it stops. Knowing your worth will, happen when it happens. Everything it can happen. I mean, anything is possible, apparently.
Yeah. So yeah, like everything is okay in non-duality, right? Homeless is being okay, being a billionaire is okay, being insecure, knowing your worth. Life is there is nothing that can be like, I feel like in the spiritual world, it's like, no, there's no negativity. You can't have bad thoughts. You can't chase your twin flame. You can't. No, no, no. In non-duality, and I say in non-duality, but once you've reached, I don't know what you want to say, but non-duality, everything is okay. Bad, good, insecure, non-settling, settling. You realize that life is just being life, and you're that. And you look to the corner and someone's homeless, and that's what life was doing with that particular being. And there's nothing they can do. This is all life just playing out. So it's a really sad message, because if you're in a bad situation, it's not good. But that could change any moment too, and can become good. So it's really I don't know, I would call it like a full acceptance and a full surrender to everything and anything. Anything. That's all I gotta say.
Your speaker's off. Oh, shit.
Moment.
Your speaker's off.
Mine?
Sorry,
No,
I had to cough. I
Oh.
muted my. Yeah, it's basically everything you said, and no one's doing it. So everything is, like you said, just unfolding the way it's going to unfold. Resistance could come up. It's not a big deal if it does. And like Shannon said, it's just more noticed. Apparently, it seems to be like you notice it, because I don't even know why you notice it, but after realization, it does seem, at least for me, like I'm way more calm and peaceful, and things don't really, and not saying it can't happen, but things don't really, like we talk about, stick anymore. Like I don't stay mad, or I don't really stay in a parent state. I don't stay happy. I don't stay mad. I don't stay sad. I don't stay angry. I don't stay. It just really goes back to what feels like a neutral kind of existence, and that can be missed. The character can be missed sometimes for that, because it was fun sometimes to have those high highs. It wasn't fun to have the low lows, but it was fun to have the high highs. And what Shannon talked about as far as chasing, I had been a chaser a couple times in my life, and I stopped doing that like probably in my 30s. And so when my apparent twin booked, there was an urge to chase, but by then I was like, so like, I will never chase a man again. I'd rather die. And I felt like I was dying, but I would have never picked up that phone. Still to this day, never. And that must be still the stubbornness that's left in the character there, like the personality, because I know, I mean, that's all gone now anyway, but like zero. And I'm not saying it's wrong or right. zero. I'm not ever going to look at his Facebook or anything ever again. I can say I won't. And I might. That might happen. But I have no desire to do that anymore. That's just here.
Even
Shannon,
if you,
can I
and if,
say something? Oh,
go ahead.
I just, when Monique just said there's a missing of the highs, like I feel like the most emotion I feel, which is not an emotion, but the most place I am is at this neutral place every single day. It's like this neutral, there's no highs and lows the way like I was before, like before realization. And sometimes I miss it, like in a way, because there was like more excitement, or I don't know. I miss it sometimes because it seems like I'm neutral a lot of the time. And I don't know. When she brought it up, I was like, oh my God, me too. So anyways, we can talk.
You know, my girlfriend, and I was just telling, me and Monique were talking not too long ago. My girlfriend got a hold of me. It was the girl that I started out with when on the twin flame journey. When I first, was going through the shit. And she got a hold of me. And apparently she's what you would call in the story in union with her twin flame. And she actually wanted to be on the Zoom. And her twin flame wanted to be on it too. They both
Oh
wanted
wow.
to join to talk about both their perspectives on it. Anyway, she told me, she said, girl, she goes, I just realized just being authentic was just the way to be. She goes, she was like, just keep doing you. She goes, and the more you do you, the more it will happen, that you'll come together or whatever. She goes, but it will be an in and out thing first. And then eventually they can't seem to leave. And she's at that place now. And she said where before it was really hard for her, and I would let her explain this to you, but unfortunately, the only time she can do the Zoom is at 9 o'clock at night, and she's from California. That's late for all of us. So anyways, but she said that once she was okay with being authentically who she is and just, being okay with whatever's happening. And you know how they tell you, don't ever talk about twin flames with your twin flame because it will just chase them off, or they won't understand it, or, they just won't. But she said, because she's okay with what's coming up for her, like she's in a good place right now or whatever, she can actually talk to him about it. And he actually gets it. He gets it. Where before she wasn't okay with everything. So it would be like this. There was no sticking around at all. But now it's like he's open to talking about it, and he realizes that they're in a twin flame thingy, apparently. And that's why he was okay with coming on here and talking to us about what he went through during the time that she was going through. And I thought that would have been so interesting to hear both their sides. But she told me, she said, Shannon, all I can say is keep doing you. She was like, just do you. She was like, she said, there's no right or wrong way to be. She said, just be you. Whatever happens, happens. She goes, and yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. But I did want to bring up something real quick before it's about the whole authentic thing. You know what I'm saying? It's like, there's no right or wrong way to be. I feel like the more authentic you are, the more neutral you are, apparently. And it doesn't matter what you do, whatever's happening. There's no right or wrong way to be. It is what it is. And that's all there is.
Can I just add one quickie? I just want to say that El
Yeah.
Hari said that exact same thing. She says that, like when they come in, when they start coming back, she says it in one of her videos. She says the twin will come in and then they'll leave and then they'll come in again. The more neutralized you get, they keep coming in and in and in. She says, like if you start to worry about it, then they say it's repelled. But she says the more you are just in your own energy and they tend to come in, and then they leave, and then they leave, and then they come in. And she says, eventually they can't leave. That doesn't mean you have to be in a relationship with an apparent relationship. It's always going to be up to you at that point. Apparently, that's the cherry on the ice cream, is that it will be your decision. You can decide whether you want them, because they are you, right? Apparently. So you can decide if you want to be in that neutral state with another apparent other, or you can choose a soulmate or somebody else who you want all the ups and downs and the excitement with. That's just what she says. So I just thought it was interesting that your friend said that's exactly how it appeared, and it appears to be happening for you in your story. I find that interesting. Go ahead, Shan.
My twin at the end before my realization said to me, "Hey, I'm not going where you're going. I'm gonna stay here." And I was like, "What?" So he actually told me he's not gonna come along and he's gonna stay in the spiritual world. So maybe there is a thing, maybe they will end up together if they're both going the same place. I don't know, but mine apparently told me they weren't going to come. So I don't know. This twin flame stuff is crazy.
It's just
You
what's
know,
appearing to happen. That's what they were appearing to say. That's what he just appeared to say to you. But it doesn't mean that he ain't gonna come around. I mean, he can still come around to this day, but you don't have to be with him. You know what I'm saying? Just keep doing you. Just keep being you. And whether it's thinking about him, not thinking about him, wanting to check on him, not wanting to check on him, whatever.
He never crosses my mind. I have nothing.
And
I have no.
that's completely okay.
at the end of the day, it's not his choice. There is no him. So if he's gonna come in, he's gonna come in. He won't even know why, because that's apparently how it works. He'll just show up, and he won't even, because it's not him doing it. It's the energy. Apparently.
There's no any of us doing anything.
Yeah. So if he's gonna come in, he will, and it won't be his choice. He'll think, maybe if he's not realized, he may still think he's doing it, but it's the energy, apparently, in the story. But it's cool that you don't give a shit either way. That's awesome.
Feels awesome.
Yeah, also I wanted to talk about, authentic. Like, a lot of people want to know what being authentic is. Really, there's no like explaining what authenticity is, because you're already it. Like, you're just being, and whatever's appearing to happen is just what's happening, and it is what it is. You're no longer wanting to seek out and reach certain levels, to get out of what already is appearing to happen. You're just, I don't know, you're just being. But also I do have so I know a lot of twin flames, some are married to somebody else, and some have boyfriends, girlfriends, but yet they have the twin flame that they can't seem to shake. And there's been questions like, is it wrong to entertain the twin flame when you're married and you have another relationship going on? And there is no wrong way to be. There's no right or wrong way to be. You're doing what is that's right for you. Like, and if you want to talk to the twin flame while you're in a marriage, then that's just what's happening. There's no control over what's going on. But some people will say, well, it's not good because you're not knowing your worth or your value and all this shit. But what is knowing your worth and your value? You're doing what's coming up for you. There's no control over that. There's no control over what a person is doing. And the person going with what's coming up for them, that's natural. That's neutrality, because they're going with what feels right for them at that time. And I don't think that goes with the rules and everything. I don't think that there's a right or wrong way to be here when it comes to the whole twin flame thing. You gotta, it is what it is. It's when you feel bad and you're hard on yourself because you're talking to the person and you're married or you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend. That's when it becomes like intense, and you know what I mean? So I don't know.
How could there be any right or wrong when there's nobody here? There's nobody here anywhere. There's not just us there's nobody here. There's nobody here anywhere. There's no people, there's no one. So whatever's happening is happening. So it can, of course, like you said, there's no right or wrong. If your twin is married and you're doing something with them, that's what's happening. That's what's appearing to happen. So yeah, let yourself off the hook and enjoy yourself. Yes,
Monogamy is an illusion.
yeah. Being a good person is an illusion. Monogamy is an illusion. All kinds of shit is an illusion. Everything's an illusion. We live such a different life now because we know everything's a fucking illusion. And I mean, I don't know, there's so much less judgment here, with people because it's like, well, that's what's appearing to happen. It's not that they're doing something wrong. That's what's appearing to happen. It's a whole nother mindset, or like, can't even call it mindset, but that's what's appearing to happen.
Yep, all of it. Yesterday I was at work and there was a girl at the job who was just so miserable. You know what I mean? And I there was no judgment. I actually, like, my heart went out to her because I'm like, wow, like, you know what I mean? She was so deep in it, like just being mean to me, like apparently because she could. It didn't really bother me though. I felt like the old me, the personality, like the ego would have come up, and I've been like, I got 50 more years of experience than you do, girl. You don't even know what you're doing. The old me would have been like, how dare she? But it was so weird. Like, I just like reacted with just, she was just, you should know how to do that. I'm like, well, it's my first time in your office. I've never used your system. So if you could just kind of walk me through it a couple times, I'm sure I'll get it. Like, she was just that rude. But it was just like, it didn't stick. Like, I didn't, and I could tell, like, she was like, didn't know what to do with that. She wasn't getting the reaction apparently that she was looking for. I just didn't care. I
Because
smiled,
there's nobody
and it wasn't
there to be offended.
yeah, there was no one there to be offended. And it was like talking about authenticity. Like, I was just being authentic. Like, I could have gotten angry. Angry could have come up. It just didn't. I wasn't like, I just kind of felt like sorry for her in a genuine way, not in a way where I'm like, oh, I feel sorry for her. It was just like, wow, like you know what I mean? Like, you're so stuck in it still. Cause I used to be stuck in it too. Like, there was me that was stuck, that apparently that wasn't real. But I thought at the time when I was fully in the character, I thought it was real. All those feelings felt real. So I felt like love for her in a weird way. Like, I just felt bad for her. That makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
With me, I'm more raw. I probably would have cussed the ass out and then left it alone. That's just me. I don't know. I'm just so, anymore. Like, I can't help what comes out of my mouth anymore. But then sometimes I can't be bothered. Sometimes I'm just like, oh, fuck you. I said, I'm not going to do this with you today. But I did want to bring up, a lot of my viewers on here, the ones that don't understand realization, and they don't understand that there is no one. I just want them to know that authenticity is cool. Being authentic is cool, man. And just be you. Do you. It don't matter what the fuck you do. There's no healing, there's no chakras that need to be clear, because I don't even know what that is, but there's nothing that you need to do to, you know, to change who you are. I mean, there's no changing who you are. It is what it is, and I just want them to know that, but there are no rules, apparently. I don't know what rules are, but in the story, there are no rules. There's nothing. Just be you, do you. I don't know if you guys have anything you want to offer.
I could say that just because that didn't happen yesterday, and I didn't appear to say fuck all the way off, which the old sorry, that's not saying the next time I go there, she'll trigger something and stuff, and then I feel like, and I tell her off, because everything just happens as it happens, right? So I'm not like over here like, oh, what would Jesus do? I'm not like that. It's not like that. I'm not making fun of that. I'm just saying it's not like you change into this guru type person who just,
Yeah.
I am all love all the time. Everyone is wonderful. There is, it's not like that. Like the next time I go to work, I could actually, like, she could actually piss me off, and I might say, hey, you're a pretty miserable human being, aren't you? I might say that. I don't know. You never know.
We do have 2 minutes left. Just to let y'all know. I know that there is no within and no without as well, because you know how a lot of teachers and stuff will tell you, well, look within. You know, find you. You are it. There's nothing outside of you that you need to seek and look for. This is it.
This
You
is
know?
it.
You look
Yeah,
very pretty
there's-
tonight, Yasmin.
Yeah, she does.
You look beautiful. Your makeup is
Oh.
perfect.
Thank you. I mean, I only have like a little eyeliner on.
You fancy, huh?
You gorgeous, girl. Is that Victoria's Secret PJs you got on?
Yeah. There's a big storm in LA.
I got the pink ones. I got the
Oh, we
pink
got the
ones.
pink one.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't wear no pajamas, Ben.
I know.
Me
She
either.
just.
Not too bad.
I don't wear nothing. I
Me either. I can't.
Yeah.
I feel like a burrito wrapped up in a burrito.
Yeah. But I love you guys, and we'll have to do this again. It's gonna end
That's
here.
right.
Nice
Bye,
talk.
guys.
Love you guys. Let's
Love
do it
ya.
again.
Bye.
Bye.